In every universe, light is born from collision. One star burns alone, steady, pure, radiant. But when another draws near, gravity changes destiny. Long before the cries of gods or the roar of universes, there was a brother and a sister. Two hearts forged in the same flame of Saiyan cried. One destined to protect, the other to defy. He would walk the path of peace through strength, Son Goku, the child who laughed in the face of destruction. She would walk the path of strength through rebellion, CAULIFLA, the storm that refused to kneel before fate. But in this universe, this fractured mirror of existence, they are born not galaxies apart, but side by side. Two Saiyans raised under the same sky, two wills destined to clash, converge, and ascend beyond the meaning of power itself. And somewhere beyond the mortal realms, the cosmos whispers. When two flames share one soul, even the gods must tremble. Before we step into this alternate destiny, remember to join the journey so our timelines may never fade into silence. Let this legend live not just in words, but in the pulse of every warrior who still believes in growth, love, and the will to rise again. Before the empire fell, before the scream of destruction echoed across the stars, planet Vegeta was alive, not merely with conquest, but with heartbeat. The Saiyans were a race of warriors who mistook motion for meaning, battle for purpose. They believed the universe bowed only to those who made it tremble. Yet among their ranks, destiny quietly prepared two souls who would one day rewrite what power truly meant. In a chamber of obsidian glass and burning light, two infants were born beneath the same crimson moon. One cried with laughter, as if the universe were a game to be played. The other was silent, her dark eyes reflecting the endless expanse beyond her cradle. They were twins in spirit, if not in name, the son and daughter of a minor Saiyan bloodline forgotten by the royal guard. The boy would be called Kakarot, the girl CAULIFLA. For a brief moment, her mother held them both, one fist raised, one hand reaching. But the shadow of Frieza stretched long over planet Vegeta, and the whispers of rebellion filled the halls like smoke. Word had come that the tyrant no longer trusted the Saiyans. A purge was inevitable. Bardock saw it coming. He had watched his comrades vanish into the void under Frieza's command, and something inside him had already begun to fracture. A doubt, a question, a spark of foresight. When he looked at his newborn son, he saw not a weapon, but a chance. But when he looked upon his daughter, he saw something else entirely, the mirror of his own rebellion. She did not cry. She only stared at him, her gaze sharp and unnervingly calm. CAULIFLA, you were born without fear. That may save you, or damn you. The night he sent Kakarot to Earth, the sky was bleeding red, but there was no ship for CAULIFLA. Bardock had argued, pleaded. The transports were few, the soldiers untrusting. In the chaos of evacuation, his daughter was lost to the rebellion's underground, smuggled away by a rogue Saiyan faction who refused to bow to Frieza's chain. When the planet burned, she was not among the ashes. Years passed like drifting embers. CAULIFLA grew not among soldiers, but survivors, Saiyans who had learned to hide their pride behind silence. She trained beneath shattered moons, her fists splitting rock and air alike. The girl who had once watched her brother's ship disappear into starlight now watched her reflection in still water, whispering a single name she had never forgotten. Kakarot. Somewhere out there, she believed, he still fought.
And so she fought too, for meaning, for proof, for the promise that the Saiyan bloodline had not ended in flame, but it transformed. She imagined him growing strong among alien skies, laughing, protecting, fighting without hate, and it both inspired and enraged her. To CAULIFLA, power was love twisted through pain. To protect was to dominate, to evolve, to never again be powerless before gods or tyrants. Yet beneath her fire burned a loneliness no battle could erase. One night under a cold, fractured moon, her mentor, an aging Saiyan named Taro, found her sitting among the ruins of their hidden base, fists bloodied from training. "You're fighting ghosts again," he said. She didn't look up. "Maybe they'll hit back." Taro sighed. "I see you in him, that old fool Bardock, always seeing something that isn't there." CAULIFLA turned her gaze toward the horizon, where the stars shimmered like scars. If he saw what's coming, maybe he wasn't a fool at all. Taro studied her in silence. There was something in her ki, untamed, wild, yet strangely pure. He had seen Saiyans lose themselves in bloodlust, but hers was different. Her fury carried sorrow. Her rebellion carried memory. Someday, I'll find him, my brother, the one they call Goku now. And then what? Then I'll see if his heart still remembers what it means to burn. The stars flickered. The air hummed. Somewhere beyond the void, a presence stirred. Faint but familiar. A pulse like two halves of a heartbeat separated by galaxies. Goku looked up from a quiet field on Earth that same night, sensing something he could not name. The wind rustled through the grass, and for a moment he smiled, feeling a strange warmth in his chest, like an echo calling him home. Across the cosmos, CAULIFLA clenched her fist. "I felt it," she whispered. "He's alive." And for the first time she smiled, not with pride, but with faith. The universe had kept its promise. Weeks became years, and the galaxy moved on, forgetting the name CAULIFLA like dust swept from a broken sword. But destiny does not forget. It waits, patient and burning. The rebellion that had sheltered her scattered across the void, hunted, fractured, forgotten. Yet the young Saiyan girl endured. Her fists learned the language of pain, her heart the rhythm of solitude. Each dawn she stood atop the jagged cliffs of the abandoned moon where she trained, staring at the glow of distant stars, each one a promise, each one a memory. She felt the ghosts of her ancestors behind her, whispering in a voice that sounded like thunder rolling through her blood. Never stop, never bow. And so she did not. When she reached adolescence, CAULIFLA had already surpassed every Saiyan left in the rebel clan. Her power was not refined. It was raw, wild, radiant. But beneath that savagery was a stillness that unsettled those who watched her. She didn't fight to kill. She fought to feel alive. One day during a skirmish against Frieza's scavenger fleet, her ki flared beyond comprehension. Gold light cracked through the darkness, her aura pulsing like a heartbeat of the cosmos itself. For a moment, time seemed to hesitate. The stars dimmed. Space bent around her scream. Then silence. When the light faded, she stood among ruins, trembling not from exhaustion, but from revelation. Her hair had flickered gold, only for an instant. Her eyes, wild and terrified, searched her reflection in the shattered metal at her feet.
That feeling, she thought. Was that what he felt? My brother. The name Goku had spread across the galaxy like myth. A Saiyan who defied Frieza, who reached forms the ancient bloodline had only dreamed of. She had heard it whispered among soldiers, sung in hidden camps. The Saiyan from Earth, the one who stood against gods. And with each retelling, something inside her shifted. Was he truly the same Kakarot her father had sent away? Did he still remember her? Did he know she existed? The questions haunted her more than any battle. Years later, when rumors reached her of the Tournament of Power, a gathering of warriors from across universes, she knew it was no coincidence. The cosmos had drawn her brother into a new storm, and this time, she would not watch from afar. With the help of the last surviving rebels, she stole a forgotten Saiyan pod and rewired its course toward the coordinates of Universe 7. Her heart pounded as the engines roared, the metal trembled. "Goku," she whispered into the void, "if you've become a legend, then I'll become the one who challenges it." The stars stretched into streaks of fire. The pod broke through dimensions like a blade through silk. As light consumed her, she closed her eyes and felt a warmth, faint and familiar. The same warmth she had felt once, as an infant, beside her brother's cradle. On Earth, the sky shimmered faintly above Mount Paozu. Goku paused mid-training, sweat dripping from his brow. A strange pull tugged at his chest. Not danger, but connection. Something ancient and soft, hidden beneath the endless pursuit of strength. Goku murmured, "Chi-Chi, do you ever feel like someone's out there watching me?" She rolled her eyes. Probably Vegeta, waiting to brag again. Goku smiled, but the smile didn't last. He turned his gaze to the stars, and for a heartbeat, he thought he saw a flicker of gold. Faint, fleeting, like memory itself. Somewhere across the void, CAULIFLA opened her eyes. The pod's monitors reflected her face, lit by the burning red of re-entry. Her heart whispered a name that now belonged to another world. Kakarot. And as her pod streaked across the edge of reality, destiny began to realign. The universe itself seemed to shudder, for two Saiyan souls, separated by prophecy, were about to meet again. The brother of peace, the sister of fire. Two flames, one fate. The pod tore through the night sky like a falling star, screaming across the atmosphere before carving a path through a quiet mountain valley. Goku was already moving before the light faded. His instincts, sharpened through years of battle and rebirth, guided him toward the crater that smoked at the edge of the forest. When the dust settled, a single figure emerged from the wreckage. Steam rose from her shoulders, her armor cracked and burning, but her eyes burned brighter than the stars above. Goku's breath caught. Something in her presence pulled at him, familiar yet unreachable, like hearing a lullaby from a dream long forgotten. She looked up. "You're Goku." He blinked. "Yeah, do I know you?" Her gaze softened for just a moment, then hardened again. Not yet. And then she moved, a blur of golden light and fury. Her fist met his with the sound of thunder splitting the sky. Trees bent, rocks shattered, the earth itself trembled. Goku skidded back, laughing with pure excitement. "Wow, you're strong!" But CAULIFLA wasn't smiling. "You took everything," she hissed. "You lived while the rest of us burned. You became a legend while our kind disappeared into dust." Her words struck deeper than any blow. Goku's aura flickered, not from pain, but confusion. "I didn't know. I didn't even remember my world until much later." "Then remember this."
She vanished again, her power rising beyond comprehension. Gold light licked her form, flashing between rage and awakening. Goku met her blow with equal force, and the shockwave sent a halo of light through the clouds. But beneath her fury, he sensed something fragile, a longing. This wasn't hate, it was grief twisted into motion. Between strikes, their eyes met. For an instant, silence. Goku's voice, quiet but steady. "You're my sister, aren't you?" Her heart stopped. The fight faltered. Energy dispersed like mist. The forest fell into stillness. "How did you—" "I don't know," he said, smiling faintly. "But when you showed up, it felt like coming home." The words disarmed her more completely than any technique could. All her years of training, rage, survival, all of it cracked beneath the weight of something she had buried too deep, belonging. She dropped to her knees, fists trembling. "All this time, I thought I had to destroy you to prove I existed." Goku stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to fight me," he said. "You can fight with me." Her eyes lifted to his, dark, wet with anger and disbelief. "Why would you want that?" He smiled, that same boundless, innocent smile that had disarmed gods and monsters alike. "Because we're family, and because I think the universe is not done with us yet." Above them, the stars pulsed, slow, rhythmic, almost alive. Somewhere beyond mortal sight, Whis tilted his head, his staff shimmering. "Interesting," the angel murmured. "Two Saiyans, one origin, and yet their power signatures resonate like mirrors. Beerus, have you ever seen a bond like this before?" The god of destruction opened one eye and smirked. "No, but I think we should keep watching. Something's about to break." Back on Earth, the two Saiyans stood side by side beneath the burning sky. For the first time in decades, CAULIFLA didn't feel alone. She looked at her brother, at the warmth in his gaze, the quiet certainty in his stance, and realized something she'd never understood before. Strength wasn't about defiance, it was about connection. Still, the storm in her blood whispered of more to come. She turned away, eyes glinting gold in the moonlight. "If we're really family, then you better be ready, because I'm not stopping until I surpass you." Goku laughed, light and easy, his aura flaring to meet hers. "Wouldn't have it any other way." The wind rose, the earth hummed, two Saiyan hearts beat as one, in rhythm, in challenge, in destiny. Somewhere, the universe smiled, and in the quiet between stars, a new legend began to breathe. The days that followed were calm only on the surface, but beneath the quiet rhythm of wind and flowing rivers, something ancient stirred, the pulse of a bond that had defied extinction. CAULIFLA stayed on Earth, not because she trusted it, nor because she trusted her brother, but because the air here was alive. The planet breathed differently, gentle, unscarred, humming with something she had never known on the dying moons of her youth: peace. She hated how it softened her. Each morning she would rise before dawn, training where the mist rolled over the mountain's edge, her aura igniting like a torch in fog. Goku often joined her, barefoot and smiling, as if the very act of battle was a form of prayer. He didn't speak much while they fought. He let movement say what words could not. Their clashes were graceful storms, fist meeting fist, ki rippling across valleys, each strike both challenge and confession. But every time she struck him down, he rose with that same unbreakable calm. And every time she rose, he smiled, as though he had been waiting for her to remember something he already knew. But CAULIFLA did not want his patience. She wanted to break it. "You fight like the world will never end," she told him one morning, after a clash that split the clouds. "Like every blow is just another step in a dance." Goku grinned, brushing dust from his gi. "Maybe it is." Her eyes narrowed. "You think fighting is peace?"
He looked past her, toward the horizon where the light burned low in gold. "I think peace is when you can fight without hate." CAULIFLA turned away, disgusted by the simplicity of his truth. To her, peace was a word that belonged to the dead. The living had to claw, bite, and burn their way to survive. She had seen too many fall because they hesitated to strike. That night, as she sat beside a quiet stream, the memories came again. Planet Vegeta's crimson skies, Bardock's grim eyes, the roar of ships leaving, her own hands trembling as fire consumed the only home she had ever known. She clenched her fists until her nails drew blood. "Peace is just waiting for the next destruction," she thought, "and I won't wait anymore." But destiny had a way of testing what it wished to teach. The next morning, as dawn painted the mountains in silver, Vegeta appeared, arms crossed, aura sharp as a blade. His gaze slid from Goku to CAULIFLA, and a smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. "So this is the sister you've been whispering about. She looks like trouble." CAULIFLA smirked back. "Takes one to know one, Prince." Their auras flared instinctively, colliding before their fists even moved. Goku sighed, half laughing. "Guess breakfast can wait." The duel that followed was fierce and fast. Vegeta's precision against CAULIFLA's wildfire. He moved like a blade, she moved like a storm. Every strike was a test, every dodge a declaration. When their energy clashed, it painted the sky in gold and violet flame. For the first time in years, CAULIFLA felt her pulse quicken not from rage, but exhilaration. Vegeta was not like Goku. He fought to dominate, to crush, but in his arrogance, she found something familiar. The raw pride of a Saiyan unbroken by gods or fate. When they finally paused, both bruised and panting, Vegeta gave a short, sharp laugh. "You're reckless, but you're strong. Stronger than half the fools Beerus keeps an eye on." CAULIFLA wiped blood from her lips, smiling.
Then keep watching. As he turned to leave, Vegeta said quietly, "You have his heart, you know. The same fire, but be careful. It burns even the ones it loves." She didn't answer. She didn't need to. That night, while Goku trained alone under the stars, she approached him without a word. The moonlight shimmered over his form, his ki steady, flowing like wind and water. There was no fury in it, only balance. He opened his eyes, serene. "How do you do what?" "Fight like you're free." He smiled, small, almost sad. "Because I don't fight to win anymore. I fight to understand." His words sank into her like a seed buried in scorched earth. Understanding. Not victory, not dominance, but clarity. For the first time, she didn't respond with defiance. She simply watched the stars and wondered if maybe, just maybe, peace wasn't surrender. Perhaps it was transformation. But even as she felt that truth stirring within, the universe was already conspiring to test it. In the far reaches of space, a god's gaze turned toward Earth. Beerus's whiskers twitched, his golden eyes narrowing. "Beerus, Whis, tell me, what happens when two Saiyans learn peace before destruction?" Whis smiled, his voice soft as starlight. "Perhaps, my lord, that's how new gods are born."
And somewhere below, two Saiyan souls, one forged in fury, one in faith, stood on the edge of something greater than destiny itself. The air trembled, the stars listened. The legend was far from done. The following weeks unfolded like quiet echoes between storms. CAULIFLA stayed on Earth, though she never admitted it was by choice. She told herself she had unfinished business, that she needed to measure herself against her brother's power until she surpassed him. But beneath the armor of pride, something softer began to grow. She noticed the way the planet breathed, the way the grass bowed when the wind passed, the way Goku trained not for dominance, but for discovery. He could stare at a sunrise for hours, then turn and smile as if it had taught him a secret about strength. CAULIFLA didn't understand it, but she couldn't look away. One morning, she found him sitting cross-legged by the lake, eyes closed, his aura invisible yet infinite. His stillness was so complete that even the ripples in the water seemed afraid to move. She crossed her arms. "You call that training?" He smiled without opening his eyes. "You should try it. Harder than it looks." "Yeah? Sitting still never saved anyone." "Maybe not, but it helps you see what's worth saving." For the first time in her life, she had no comeback. His words hung in the air, gentle as dew, but sharp enough to cut through the noise inside her. That night, as the stars gathered in the reflection of the water, she tried what he did. She sat, silent, breathing, for minutes, then hours. Her muscles screamed for movement, her instincts clawed for release. But beneath the restlessness, something new flickered, not weakness, but awareness. She could feel the pulse of the planet, the hum of life, the steady rhythm that existed beneath all struggle. And in that stillness, she remembered Bardock's final gaze, the defiance, the sorrow, the love hidden behind a warrior's stare. Maybe this is what he wanted for us, to fight until peace didn't need fighting for. But just as that truth began to settle, the universe reminded her of what peace always demands, a test. It came without warning, a tear in the sky, a distortion in the air. Goku felt it first, a ripple of energy too familiar to mistake. Beerus, the god of destruction, arrived not as fury, but as silence. His golden eye scanned the planet with mild boredom, though his aura alone was enough to shake the horizon. "Well," Beerus said, his voice smooth as a blade's edge, "seems your little family reunion has attracted attention." Goku bowed slightly, his usual cheer tempered by caution. "Hey, Lord Beerus, you here to spar again or just checking up on us?"
Whis chuckled softly behind him. Neither, perhaps? But my, what a delightful surprise. Two Saiyans from one bloodline surviving extinction. The symmetry is almost poetic. CAULIFLA's eyes narrowed. You're the gods who let our planet burn. Beerus tilted his head lazily. Oh, I've destroyed many planets. Yours was incidental. Her aura surged, gold flaring violently around her. Incidental? Before Goku could stop her, she leapt, faster than light, faster than thought. Her punch stopped an inch from Beerus's cheek, suspended in a flick of his claw. The pressure of his ki alone crushed the ground beneath them. Careful, little spark. The flame that rises too soon burns itself first.
For a moment, their gazes locked. God and mortal, destruction and defiance. And then, with a flick, he sent her flying across the valley. She hit the ground hard, the world spinning, her pride bleeding into the dirt. But before she could rise, a hand reached out. Goku. He wasn't smiling. His voice was calm, low, steady. You can't fight peace with anger. Her teeth clenched. Then what am I supposed to fight with? He looked up at Beerus, then back at her. With purpose. She stared at him, chest heaving, breath sharp as glass. In his eyes, she saw no fear, only truth. And that truth burned hotter than rage. She rose slowly, dust falling from her armor. Fine. Then teach me. Teach me how to fight like you, without losing myself. Beerus smirked. Now that, he said, glancing at Whis, might be worth watching. Whis smiled knowingly. Indeed, two Saiyans walking two paths toward the same horizon. Perhaps the gods will learn something new. As dawn crept across the sky, CAULIFLA and Goku stood side by side once more, their shadows stretching across the valley. One born of rebellion, the other of serenity. And though neither spoke it aloud, both felt the same truth stirring between their hearts. Peace was not the end of battle. It was the evolution of it. Dawn spilled across the horizon like a silent explosion of light. Goku and CAULIFLA stood side by side in the open fields beyond Mount Pausu, the place where gods had once threatened to erase everything, and where now two Saiyans breathed in the stillness of a new lesson. Whis hovered a few meters above the ground, his staff humming faintly with celestial rhythm. Beerus lounged on a nearby rock, eyes half-lidded, though his aura betrayed mild interest. Today, said Whis, his voice melodic and calm, you will learn not how to destroy, but how to feel destruction, to understand its balance within creation. CAULIFLA frowned. I came here to fight, not to meditate on poetry. Whis smiled gently. And yet, my dear, even fighting is a kind of poetry, if you learn to listen. Goku chuckled softly beside her. He's right, you know. It's like when you're about to strike and time slows down. You feel the whole world breathe through you. She glared at him. You're impossible. He only grinned wider. That's what Chi-Chi says too. But as Whis raised his staff, the air around them changed. The world melted into a white void, weightless, endless. CAULIFLA gasped as her senses stretched beyond body and bone. She could feel the stars pulsing, galaxies swirling, the hum of energy between atoms. This, Whis whispered, his voice echoing from nowhere and everywhere, is the breath between universes. To master power, one must first surrender to what lies beyond control. The ground beneath her vanished. She fell through light and silence, her thoughts dissolving into instinct. She felt her ki rising, wild, radiant, but every time she tried to grasp it, it slipped away like water through her fingers. Frustration clawed at her chest. What is this? She shouted into the void. I can't fight what I can't touch. Whis's laughter was distant and kind. Exactly. And suddenly she saw him, Goku, floating nearby, his body still, his aura quiet but infinite. His ki was not an explosion, it was a horizon, boundless, serene, eternal. In that moment, she understood. He wasn't stronger because he trained harder. He was stronger
Because he stopped fighting the universe. He moved with it. He trusted it. Her breath caught. For the first time, she didn't resist. She let go. The light changed. It no longer pressed against her. It flowed through her. Her body began to shimmer, her aura turning translucent, edges of gold bleeding into pale silver. Her heartbeat synchronized with the pulse of creation itself. In the corner of his eye, Goku opened his eyes, silver now, gleaming with quiet awe. "She's doing it," he whispered. We smiled faintly. Every storm finds its calm. When the illusion faded, they stood once more upon the mountain plateau. CAULIFLA's body trembled, but her energy was different, lighter, vaster. It wasn't rage or pride anymore. It was awareness. Beerus opened one golden eye, unimpressed but curious. Not bad. You almost looked divine for a moment." CAULIFLA exhaled slowly, sweat beating down her temple. "That wasn't power. That was truth." Goku nodded, eyes gleaming with warmth. "Now you get it." She turned toward him, half smiling, half challenging. "Don't think this means you're still ahead of me." He laughed, that pure, unshakable sound that had made gods pause and enemies falter. Wouldn't dream of it. As they walked down the slope, the sky began to shift, streaks of violet rippling like waves. Somewhere far beyond, universes trembled. Whis watched the horizon, his expression contemplative. Two mortals touching the edge of divinity. Perhaps this era is more interesting than I imagined. Beerus yawned. "Just make sure they don't destroy my lunch planet again." But Whis' eyes lingered on the Saiyan siblings, their auras intertwined, fire and wind, defiance and serenity. In their union, something new was forming. Not a technique, not a transformation, a balance. The kind that changes destiny itself. Far away, beneath the quiet hum of stars, CAULIFLA looked up into the vastness of the sky. The same sky her brother had once crossed as an infant, and the same one her father had died beneath. For the first time, she didn't feel rage or grief. She felt belonging. And in that peace, she whispered, not to Goku, not to the gods, but to the stars themselves. Maybe this is what it means to be Saiyan, not to conquer, but to remember why we rise. The wind carried her words into the infinite. And somewhere beyond hearing, the cosmos whispered back. The universe has a heartbeat, one too vast for mortals to hear, yet every warrior who's brushed the edge of divinity has felt it tremble beneath their skin. For Goku and CAULIFLA, that pulse had begun to quicken. Somewhere in the spaces between stars, the gods were watching.
On the far side of reality, in the marble halls of the Grand Zeno Palace, time stood still. Angels whispered, their halos dimming as they observed a new current flowing through Universe 7, a resonance of two Saiyan souls awakening in harmony. Even Zeno, childlike and eternal, tilted his head as if listening to a melody only he could hear. "Two lights," murmured the Grand Priest, his expression unreadable. "Opposite in nature, yet aligned in purpose. If they continue, they may reshape balance itself." "Should I intervene?" Whis' brother Vados asked from beside him, her tone laced with quiet intrigue. The Grand Priest smiled faintly. "Not yet. Let the mortals dance with their shadows first. The gods learn most from what they cannot control." Back on Earth, the days rolled by in peace that felt almost unnatural. A fragile calm before an inevitable storm. Goku trained with CAULIFLA beneath the open skies, each spar more profound than the last. She was faster now, sharper, her strikes carrying not just fury but focus. Where once she fought to dominate, she now fought to understand. "You're getting stronger," Goku said one afternoon, blocking her kick with a grin. "Stronger than you yet?" He laughed, spinning midair. "Not quite, but you're close enough that it's starting to scare me." She charged again, golden light streaking behind her. Their battle tore through the valley, a storm of motion, thunder made flesh. When they finally stopped, breathless and laughing, the ground beneath them glowed faintly from the friction of their energy. But as they stood catching their breath,
Goku's expression changed. His eyes turned skyward, narrowing. "You feel that?" CAULIFLA nodded. "It's not Beerus, something colder." The sky darkened, colors graining into violet hues. The air shimmered, folding in on itself, and from that distortion stepped a figure, tall, cloaked, his aura ancient and vast. "Son Goku," the voice said, deep, echoing like 1,000 worlds sighing at once. "And CAULIFLA, daughter of rebellion, the gods speak your names now." CAULIFLA's fists clenched. "Who are you?" The figure's hood lifted slightly, revealing eyes that burned like dying suns. "A messenger of balance, the Kai of shadows. I come not to fight, but to remind you, mortals are not meant to walk the path of gods." Goku stepped forward, calm but alert. "We don't walk it for power, we walk it to understand ourselves." The Kai's gaze flickered. So said mortals before the fall of the 12 realms. They too believed in growth without end. But even light becomes poison when it forgets the dark. CAULIFLA scoffed. "Save your riddles. If you came here to threaten us, you'll regret it." He smiled, sad, knowing. "I came to test you." Before she could respond, his hand rose. The sky shattered. Reality rippled outward, and suddenly they were no longer on Earth, but standing atop an endless mirror, reflections of stars beneath their feet. Whis and Beerus watched from afar, suspended in the void between realms. "Ah," Whis murmured, "so the Kai of shadows intervenes. How nostalgic." Beerus scowled. "That meddler again? The last time he showed up, a universe collapsed." Back within the mirror realm, the Kai's aura flared, black and silver intertwining like smoke. "Show me," he said, "how mortals bear the weight of creation."
CAULIFLA moved first, a streak of gold. The impact of her blow sent waves across the mirrored sea, yet the Kai didn't flinch. His body dissolved into light and reformed behind her, palm raised. The blast that followed shattered her guard, hurling her across the void. Goku was there in an instant, catching her mid-air, his own aura flaring white. "Together," he said quietly. She nodded. Their ki intertwined, gold and white spiraling upward, fusing into a brilliance that rippled across dimensions. For a moment, the Kai hesitated, eyes widening. "Impossible," he whispered. "You've touched dual resonance, creation and will aligned." Their power struck as one. The mirror world cracked, light pouring through like dawn breaking over eternity. The Kai staggered back, robes in tatters, but his laughter echoed through the void. "So it's true. Two mortals, a brother and sister who found unity beyond pride. Perhaps the gods should fear, after all." And then, as the world dissolved back into the calm blue of Earth's sky, his voice faded with the wind. "Beware, Saiyans of balance. The next storm will not test your strength, but your souls." CAULIFLA landed, breathless, her aura flickering. What did he mean by that? Goku's eyes lingered on the fading light. "I think," he said softly, "we're about to find out." Above them, Whis' staff glowed faintly. The future had shifted again, and this time, the gods weren't the only ones watching. The days after the Kai's warning felt like standing on the edge of a storm. Sunlight still shone, but the air trembled with pressure. Every sunrise seemed too still, every night too deep. Goku trained as usual, smiling, laughing, even cooking with Chi-Chi, but CAULIFLA saw it in his eyes, the way his gaze lingered on the stars a little longer, as if listening for something beyond them. And then, one night, she heard it too. It came in her sleep, a whisper, not a voice, but of instinct. A pulse, a rhythm echoing from the void where the Kai had vanished. When she awoke, her hands were trembling. Gold light flickered across her palms like restless fireflies. Down by the river, Goku was waiting. He didn't look surprised. "You heard it too, huh?" She nodded, jaw tight. "It's like something's calling." He stared at the water's reflection, the moonlight rippling across his face. "Yeah, and it's not done testing us." Before she could respond, space itself began to distort.
The stars bent inward, forming a vortex of violet flame. Whis appeared in a shimmer of blue light, expression calm but grave. The Kai's presence has awakened something older, something that predates even the gods you know. Beerus materialized beside him, tail swaying lazily. Great! Just when I thought I'd get a century of quiet naps.
CAULIFLA frowned. Older than gods? What could that even mean? Whis's eyes gleamed. Before destruction and creation were given form, there was balance, the original state of existence. The Kai of Shadows merely guards its memory. But something deeper has stirred now. The echo. The echo? Goku repeated. A force born when mortals defied divine order, when their will grows strong enough to reshape fate itself. CAULIFLA's aura flared. So we did this. In part, Whis said softly. When you combined your energies against the Kai, your resonance awakened it. You reached into the space between creation and chaos. Beerus yawned, but his golden eyes flicked toward Goku. Careless as always, you mortals keep touching strings that shouldn't be touched. Whis ignored the jab. If left unchecked, the echo could unravel reality, or redefine it. CAULIFLA clenched her fists. Then we stop it. Whis tilted his head, amused. Stop it, my dear. One cannot stop balance itself, but perhaps you can learn to guide it. Goku's eyes lit with that familiar fire, not arrogance, but hope. Then that's what we'll do. Whis smiled. I thought you might say that. He turned, his staff drawing a circle in the air. Then come, the realm of reflection awaits. They followed him through the veil, through the space where color lost meaning, where ki became music and gravity became silence. The realm of reflection was not a place, but a feeling. Infinite mirrors floating in darkness, each one showing a fragment of existence. CAULIFLA's breath caught. In the reflections, she saw moments from her life. Bardock holding her for the last time. The burning of planet Vegeta, her endless nights of training under dead skies. She saw her rage, her pride, her fear. And then she saw herself, standing beside Goku, eyes calm, her aura glowing not gold, but silver white. What is this? She whispered. Whis's voice was soft. Your potential. The reflection of what you are when you stop resisting your own truth. But then the mirrors shifted. Darkness seeped into them, distorting the light. Shadows poured out, taking shape, copies of themselves, born from their own doubts. Ah, Whis murmured, the echo manifests. The shadow CAULIFLA stepped forward smirking. You think you found peace? You've just gotten soft. Her reflection moved with perfect precision, matching every breath, every flicker of energy. Goku's double appeared too, calm, silent, eyes gleaming with divine power, ultra instinct incarnate. Realization struck them both like lightning. These aren't enemies, they're who we could become.
Or what we still fear we are, CAULIFLA whispered. The shadows moved, the air split. The first blows were mirrors colliding, perfection against imperfection, will against reflection. Every impact was both physical and spiritual, each strike peeling away another layer of illusion. Goku's movements became fluid, instinctive, silver light tracing arcs in the void. His reflection countered flawlessly. CAULIFLA's punches flared gold, her rage pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat, but her reflection's eyes glowed silver, calm, emotionless, unyielding. For the first time, she understood what she was truly fighting. Not gods, not fate. Herself. As her reflection's fist connected, she fell backward into the void. But even as pain flared, she smiled. So this is the test.
And her aura ignited again, not gold this time, but something deeper, like molten starlight caught between chaos and grace. Somewhere outside time, Whis and Beerus watched in silence. "She's beginning to see," Whis said quietly. Beerus frowned. "What?" Whis smiled faintly. "That peace without fire is just silence, and fire without peace is just destruction." Below them, 2 Saiyan souls burned, each learning that divinity was not something to be reached, but something to be understood. The echo pulsed brighter. Reality trembled. And somewhere deep within, a new power began to awaken. One neither mortal nor God had ever touched before. The void blazed like dawn breaking over infinity. CAULIFLA rose slowly, her body trembling, hair flickering between gold and silver as if caught between 2 truths. The reflection of herself stood across the mirror field, calm, composed, every movement perfect, every heartbeat deliberate. "You are everything I hated," CAULIFLA said through gritted teeth. Calm, controlled, empty. Her reflection tilted its head, eyes serene. "And you are everything I left behind. Anger, fear, noise." They moved at once, twin storms colliding. Every strike echoed like thunder. Every step split light itself. The mirror beneath them cracked under their combined force, shards rising like glass petals into the void. But no matter how hard she fought, the reflection did not waver. It met with her with precision, not fury. With acceptance, not pride. Each strike CAULIFLA landed was returned not with resistance, but understanding. And that, enraged her even more. "Stop holding back!" she shouted, her aura exploding outward, gold fire swallowing the dark. Her reflection whispered back, barely audible through the roar, "You are the one holding back." CAULIFLA froze mid-strike, panting, sweat and light mingling on her skin. "What did you say?"
You fight everything, even yourself. You chase strength because you're afraid of stillness. But stillness doesn't mean weakness. It means trust. The words pierced deeper than any blow. She had lived her entire life fighting the ghosts of destruction. Her father's death, her planet's fall, her brother's absence. Every punch was a prayer for meaning. Every victory, a denial of loss. But now, staring into the calm eyes of her own reflection, she realized what her brother had been trying to teach her since the day she arrived on Earth. To fight without hate. To rise without rage. To burn without being consumed. The fire around her dimmed, then softened. Gold light folded into silver, her aura pulsing like the quiet rhythm of her heart. Her reflection smiled and vanished. Nearby, Goku faced his own shadow. His reflection stood silent, radiating perfect ultra instinct. Calm, infinite, divine. Every movement it made seemed effortless, without flaw. Goku fought with all he had, not out of pride but curiosity, desperation, the need to understand. His blows met nothing but air, as though the reflection moved before thought itself. Then he stopped. He breathed. He closed his eyes. And in that stillness, he felt it. The faint hum of another key, resonating perfectly with his own. CAULIFLA. She had found her peace. He smiled, the corners of his lips soft with knowing. Guess it's my turn. His reflection struck, but Goku didn't resist. He moved with it, through it, not countering, but merging. His motion became silence. His heartbeat slowed until it matched the rhythm of the universe itself. The 2 Gokus blurred together, silver light merging into one. The mirrors shattered, the void sang. When the light faded, he stood beside CAULIFLA once more. Both changed, both glowing faintly with the residue of something beyond divine. Whis appeared before them, staff shimmering. So you have met your shadows and learned their song.
CAULIFLA glanced at Goku, her eyes calm but fierce. It wasn't a fight. It was remembering. Precisely. For in the heart of every god lies a mortal who chose understanding over fear. Beerus crossed his arms, trying to hide his intrigue. So what now? They've survived their little therapy session. What's next? Enlightenment? Whis turned toward the horizon of stars, his expression unusually grave. No, the echo is not content. It has seen its reflection as well, and it is coming. The space around them trembled, faint ripples running across existence like the first shivers of a coming quake. CAULIFLA frowned. Coming? You mean? Whis nodded. Balance itself seeks form. When mortals touch what even gods fear, creation takes notice. Goku clenched his fists, his smile fading into quiet resolve. Then we'll face it, together. Whis's gaze lingered on them both. Together, he repeated, as if testing the word. Yes, perhaps that is the key.
The realm of reflection began to fade. The stars folded inward, pulling them gently back toward Earth. But even as the familiar blue sky reformed above them, something new remained in their hearts, a shared resonance, quiet and infinite. For the first time in her life, CAULIFLA did not feel the urge to fight her brother. She simply stood beside him, watching the sunrise. "You ever think," she asked softly, "that maybe we were never meant to be just warriors?" Goku smiled, hands resting behind his head. "Maybe we were meant to remind even the gods what fighting really means." The wind stirred. The light broke over the mountains like a promise. And somewhere, beyond the edge of the known, a vast and silent power stirred, the echo awakening, the next trial already written in the stars. The first tremor came in silence. No sound, no quake, no light. Just a faint shifting of reality, like a breath drawn by something too vast to comprehend. Birds froze mid-flight, oceans stilled, space itself seemed to inhale. Goku and CAULIFLA felt it at once. Their auras flickered in unison, silver and gold intertwining, as if reacting to the same invisible pulse. Around them, the Earth's key vibrated with uneasy harmony, as though the planet recognized an old presence returning. Whis appeared in the clearing without sound, his expression unusually grave. "It has begun," he said. CAULIFLA clenched her fists. "The echo." He nodded. "When mortals touch what lies beyond divinity, the universe listens. But listening creates reflection, and reflection becomes form." Beerus arrived a heartbeat later, tail twitching, energy sharp. "So the balance you keep preaching about finally decided to wake up?" Whis's eyes shone faintly. "Balance is never asleep, my lord, but it rarely hungers." Above them, the sky began to warp. Clouds split, stars bled through daylight. A rift opened, not tearing through space, but blooming as if the void itself were giving birth. And from within it came the sound of a heartbeat that wasn't sound at all, a vibration that rippled through every living thing. Goku's body trembled. He'd felt godly ki before, Beerus, Jiren, even the presence of Zeno himself. But this was different. It wasn't divine. It was equal. A voice, vast and echoing, poured through the rift. "Two flames who defied their shadows, two hearts that beat as one. You have awakened the memory of the first light, the moment before gods learned to name creation." The air thickened. Goku stepped forward, calm but burning inside. "If you came to fight, then—" The voice cut him off. "Fight? No, you are already fighting against the limits of what you think you are." CAULIFLA's aura flared. "Then show yourself!"
The rift pulsed, and light took form. It was neither man nor woman, neither god nor mortal, a being of shifting radiance, its body woven from threads of shadow and flame. Every time they looked, it changed, sometimes blinding, sometimes void. Whis's staff glowed faintly. "So it is true," he whispered. The echo is the memory of balance itself, the consciousness that existed before the first angel, before destruction, before order. Beerus narrowed his eyes. You mean this thing is older than Zeno? Older than the concept of power, Whis murmured. The echo's gaze, if it could be called that, fell upon the Saiyan siblings. You reached beyond your nature. You found stillness within fire, and fire within stillness. You have done what no god has dared. Unite chaos and calm. Tell me, mortals, why? CAULIFLA stepped forward, her voice steady. Because power without peace destroys everything it touches, and peace without fire dies before it begins. For a moment's silence, vast, trembling silence. Then the echo's voice rippled like laughter made of thunder. Then you understand balance better than the ones who claim to guard it. Goku glanced at Whis, who stood unmoving, unreadable. If you're not here to destroy us, then what are you here for? The echo's form shifted, becoming clearer, more human, its face now faintly resembling both of them. To test whether balance can be shared. Before they could react, the light struck. The world inverted, sky to earth, gravity to void. CAULIFLA and Goku were flung apart into twin realms of energy, each surrounded by visions of their past battles. The voice filled both spaces. You, Goku, the calm that walks with laughter. You seek the divine through understanding, but can understanding survive when stripped of joy? You, CAULIFLA, the storm that burns with will. You seek transcendence through fury, but can will exist without rebellion? Each found themselves alone. Goku stood within a world of stillness, a white void where time didn't move. His body felt weightless, his aura dim. The silence pressed down, suffocating. Without challenge, his strength meant nothing. He tried to move, to fight, but there was nothing to resist. And slowly, the peace he once loved began to feel like a cage. CAULIFLA's realm was the opposite, pure chaos. Endless battles. Every opponent she'd ever faced materialized at once, roaring, lunging. Her fists bled, her breath burned, yet the fights never ended. Her rage became exhaustion, then emptiness. Is this power? She gasped. Is this all I am?
Until you learn to listen beyond what you love, the echo's voice replied, you are incomplete. In both realms, something began to stir. Faint at first, then bright, then unbearable. The same heartbeat, the same rhythm. Brother and sister, separated by void, began to move in sync. Goku closed his eyes and smiled through the stillness. I can feel you, CAULIFLA. She stopped mid-strike, gasping, Brother? Their auras pulsed at once, his silver, hers gold. The voids around them began to crack, light spilled through. Mixing, merging. So be it, the echo said. Let harmony be tested in fire. The worlds collided. They stood together again, not on earth, not in the realm of reflection, but in a place beyond all names. Their energy was intertwined, orbiting like twin suns. Whis's distant voice echoed faintly, reverent and awed. They've begun the awakening, the twin instinct. The void around them was alive, molten, breathing, pulsing with creation's first memory. Twin streams of light spiraled upward, gold and silver, fire and stillness, twisting like celestial serpents. Goku and CAULIFLA floated at the center, eyes closed, hearts synchronizing with the rhythm of the universe itself. Every breath they took shattered and rebuilt the fabric of energy around them. The echo watched in silence, its shifting form reflected across infinity. Two souls, one resonance, the twin halves of mortal evolution, serenity and defiance, peace and passion. Will you merge, or will you consume one another? CAULIFLA opened her eyes first. They burned not with rage, but focus. We're not merging, she said softly. We're remembering.
Goku's aura pulsed an answer. Yeah, we were never separate to begin with. And the echo smiled, a shape of both shadow and flame, before it raised its hand. The universe cracked open. Light poured in from everywhere, from past, from future, from moments that had never happened. They saw glimpses: Bardock's final stand against Frieza, Vegeta kneeling on Namek, Gohan's cry against Cell, the fall of Majin Buu, and the endless tournaments that tested gods and mortals alike. The memories swirled around them like galaxies collapsing into one another. Goku and CAULIFLA could feel every victory, every failure, every moment where Saiyans had risen and fallen through love, fury, hope, and despair. It wasn't a vision, it was an inheritance. And from that inheritance came understanding. Goku turned toward his sister, his voice steady. All our lives, we thought Saiyan strength was about breaking limits. CAULIFLA nodded. But it's not. It's about connecting through them. The echo's eyes burned brighter. Then show me the power of connection.
Their auras erupted. Silver and gold merged into a radiance that painted the void in colors no god had ever seen. The two stood at opposite ends of a vast mirror field, facing each other across eternity. CAULIFLA grinned. Ready to see how far this goes, brother? Goku chuckled, that familiar warmth radiating even through cosmic flame. Always. Their energies collided, not as enemies, but as symphony. Each blow sent ripples through dimensions. Each clash was creation reborn, gold light singing through silver arcs. The pressure-bent stars turned space into sound. Yet amid the chaos, there was no hatred, no fury, only rhythm. CAULIFLA's movements were wild, instinctive, blazing with creativity. Every strike carried her will to rise. Goku's motion was fluid, empty of resistance, the effortless motion of pure ultra instinct. And somewhere in the balance between them, something new began to take shape. Her fire no longer burned alone. His serenity no longer floated apart. Their energies began to spiral together, weaving a double helix of divinity, flame embracing calm, chaos embracing order. Their hearts beat as one, their breaths aligned. Whis' voice drifted faintly through the cosmos. Magnificent. It's not fusion, it's resonance. They've achieved harmonic instinct. Beerus leaned forward, arms crossed, golden eyes gleaming with reluctant awe. I've destroyed stars for less. In the heart of the void, the echo spread its arms. Behold the shape of your becoming. Space bent, time melted. Between Goku and CAULIFLA rose a being of pure light, tall, androgynous, its aura both tranquil and ferocious. It was not separate from them. It was them, a manifestation of their unity, born from the frequency of their souls. It spoke with their voices layered into one. We are the reflection of all Saiyan will, creation through balance, power through peace. The echo trembled, for the first time uncertain. You would claim balance as your own? The fused resonance smiled, neither arrogant nor afraid. No, we would share it. The echo's light flared, the void trembling beneath its gaze. Then show me if mortals can wield harmony without corruption. And so it attacked. The impact was not a clash, it was existence rewriting itself. The echo's form exploded into fractal storms, hurling galaxies like sparks. The Saiyan residents countered, flowing through destruction rather than against it, bending the assault, redirecting it, transforming annihilation into motion. Each strike released not devastation, but renewal. Wherever their light passed, shattered stars reignited, voids filled with color, dying worlds breathed again.
Whis whispered, awed. They're not fighting. They're restoring. Beerus frowned. Restoring what? Possibility, Whis said softly. As the battle reached its peak, the echo paused, its once shifting form now flickered, edges unraveling into light. Mortals who balance creation and destruction, who transcend instinct without losing self. It looked down at its own hand, dissolving like smoke. Perhaps the gods were only ever echoes of you. And with that, the being of balance smiled, a serene, sorrowful smile, and dissolved into stardust. The void collapsed inward, then expanded outward in silence. When it cleared, Goku and CAULIFLA stood once more as themselves, their auras dim but radiant, the universe around them calm again. Whis approached slowly, eyes bright with wonder. You have done what even angels only dream of. You have walked the path of equilibrium and returned whole. CAULIFLA, still catching her breath, smirked. Yeah, well, we Saiyans are bad at staying broken. Goku laughed, shoulders loosening. Guess we just needed to remember we weren't meant to fight alone. Beerus turned away with a quiet grunt, though his voice betrayed amusement. Don't let this go to your heads. You mortals get sentimental too easily. Whis simply smiled. And yet, it is sentiment that saves you, my lord. Above them, the stars shone brighter than they had in millennia. The cosmos itself seemed to hum in approval, a new chord added to the eternal song of creation. For the first time since time began, the universe knew harmony. And at its center, two Saiyans, brother and sister, stood hand in hand, the dawn of the twin instinct glowing quietly in their hearts. Silence followed, the kind that comes only after gods have listened. The void faded into the calm blue of Earth's sky once again. The wind moved gently through the trees as if nothing had happened, as though the universe hadn't just trembled under two mortal hearts. The birds sang, the sun rose, yet beneath that ordinary dawn, creation itself had changed its rhythm. Goku and CAULIFLA stood together on a quiet plateau overlooking the valley below, their bodies faintly steaming with residual light. Both of them felt it, a hum not outside, but within, a harmony threaded through every breath. This feels, CAULIFLA murmured, her gaze distant. Goku nodded slowly. Like everything's alive, even the air. It is, Whis's voice floated behind them. He appeared without sound, his staff dimly glowing like a captured dawn. What you feel is the universe breathing with you. You have attuned your ki to its pulse, the essence of what we call the twin instinct. CAULIFLA tilted her head. So this is godhood? Whis smiled faintly. No, it is freedom from needing it.
Beerus arrived moments later, yawning, though his tail flicked with thinly veiled agitation. I suppose I should congratulate you, he muttered. The two of you just disrupted 500,000 cosmic laws. The Grand Priest will love that. Whis chuckled softly. On the contrary, my lord, he will study it. CAULIFLA looked to her brother, her voice low. We really did it, didn't we? We faced gods, shadows, the echo itself, and we're still here. Goku's smile was small, but bright. Yeah, but it never felt like fighting the universe. It felt like becoming part of it. Whis nodded approvingly. That is the secret most divine beings forget. True power does not conquer creation, it joins it. You have achieved what angels call equilibrium, what Saiyans would call evolution. Beerus rolled his eyes, and what I would call a headache. But even the god of destruction's mockery couldn't dull the quiet wonder filling the air. The mountain breeze shimmered faintly around the two Saiyans, gold and silver energy intertwining like threads of silk, moving with the rhythm of their shared heartbeat. As the day passed, CAULIFLA wandered alone into the forest below. Every sound felt different now. The rustle of leaves, the rhythm of insects, the heartbeat of life pulsing beneath the soil. She could feel it all. The same energy she once used to destroy now connected her to every living thing. For the first time, she didn't feel like a weapon. She felt like part of something infinite. Memories of her old self rose in flickers. The girl who trained under broken moons, the rebel who fought the stars out of spite, the orphan who whispered her brother's name into darkness. All those fragments had led her here, to this moment of stillness and understanding. She closed her eyes and whispered, Father, I hope you can see us now. The wind shifted, soft, almost like an answer.
When she returned, she found Goku meditating by the water's edge, eyes closed, body relaxed, yet the world itself seemed to bend subtly around him. Without a word, she sat beside him. They stayed like that for hours. Two Saiyans, born in war, now sitting in peace. No gods, no tests, just the sound of the river, the smell of the earth, and the hum of life continuing. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Goku finally spoke. "You know," he said quietly, "for the first time, I don't feel like I need to get stronger." CAULIFLA smiled faintly. "Then maybe that's what strength really is." He turned to her, eyes glowing softly with silver light. "You think we'll ever need to use this again?" She shrugged. "Maybe, but not for fighting." She looked toward the stars where distant galaxies shimmered like sparks waiting to be born. Whis' voice drifted gently from behind them. "Perhaps that is the destiny of your kind, not destroyers, not saviors, but bridges, between the divine and the mortal, between silence and flame." Beerus snorted, half amused, half conceding. "Mortals who teach gods. What a ridiculous universe this has become." Whis smiled. "And yet, my lord, isn't that precisely what makes it beautiful?"
Night fell, soft and endless. Goku and CAULIFLA lay back against the grass, staring at the stars. The silence between them wasn't emptiness. It was understanding. The journey they'd taken wasn't over. It never would be. Saiyans didn't stop evolving. They simply learned to do so without losing themselves. Goku whispered, "CAULIFLA." "Yeah? Thanks for coming back." She smiled, eyes half closed. "Thanks for waiting." The wind carried their words into the sky, where the constellations shimmered brighter than before, as though the universe itself had heard them and approved. And somewhere beyond those stars, in the realm where gods and angels listened to mortal hearts, a quiet truth settled like dust after creation. Balance was no longer a dream. It had taken form, and its name was hope. There are moments in every universe when time itself pauses, not from stillness, but from awe. And on that quiet night beneath the stars, the cosmos was listening. The Saiyan siblings who had defied fate, gods, and the echo of balance now stood at the edge of something even greater. Not a battle, not ascension, but purpose. For though peace had settled over the earth like morning dew, far beyond its horizon, something ancient stirred again. In the silent corridors of the Grand Zeno Palace, the Grand Priest stood before the twin thrones of the Omni-Kings. His eyes were closed, but his mind was open, perceiving ripples through all realities. Each tremor carried the same resonance, the twin instinct. "It is complete," he murmured. "Two mortals have touched the origin of harmony itself." Zeno tilted his head, childlike but curious. "Is it bad?" The Grand Priest smiled faintly. "It is change, my lord. Whether it is good or bad depends on what they choose to become." Vados appeared beside him, her aura a serene blue halo. "The other universes have begun to respond. Their deities can feel it, the balance they've ignored for so long." The Grand Priest's gaze grew distant. "Then the age of pure order has ended. The age of shared creation begins." And with that, the heavens trembled. Back on Earth, Goku and CAULIFLA were unaware that their awakening had become the song of all existence. The stars had begun to hum faintly, not from chaos, but from resonance. Life across the cosmos subtly shifted, each heart synchronizing to the same rhythm of fire and stillness. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. Whis watched from afar, his staff glimmering softly. Beerus stood beside him, arms crossed, tail flicking in mild irritation. "Don't tell me you're sentimental again," Beerus grumbled. Whis smiled. "Not sentimental, reverent. What they've created cannot be undone, and even gods will need to adapt." Beerus scoffed. "Adapt? I destroy. That's my role."
Whis tilted his head. "Then perhaps, my lord, you will one day destroy to preserve balance, not to assert power." The god frowned, but said nothing. Below them, Goku was sparring with CAULIFLA, not in battle, but in rhythm.
Their punches struck like verses of an ancient song, their movements flowing as if guided by unseen melody. The ground cracked beneath them, but the air sang. Goku ducked under her punch, laughing. "You're faster again." CAULIFLA smirked. "Maybe you're getting old." "Old?" He grinned. "That's what I said before Ultra Instinct. And look how that turned out." Their laughter rippled through the air like sunlight. Yet even as they trained, something beneath the earth began to stir. The sky dimmed, the stars blinked. Whis' staff glowed sharply. Beerus's ears twitched. "That's not natural energy." Whis' voice dropped to a whisper. "No, it's divine entropy." Before they could act, a voice thundered across the heavens, deep, ancient, sorrowful. Balance was not meant to belong to mortals. The ground shook, oceans roared, space bent. From the horizon rose a colossal silhouette, wreathed in crimson flame, a being born of imbalance itself. Its form was neither god nor demon, but something between, a remnant of the old cosmos, the time before order, when chaos was still pure. Whis' eyes widened slightly. The prime flame, the origin of destruction itself. Beerus growled. "I thought it was just a myth." Whis shook his head. "Myths, my lord, are simply memories the universe refuses to forget." The prime flame's voice burned through the clouds. "Mortals who touch balance will unmake it. Creation must burn again to remember its roots." Goku and CAULIFLA stepped forward side by side. Their ki flared, gold and silver igniting together, twin stars blazing in the face of infinity. Goku's tone was steady, resolute. "If you're here to destroy balance, then you'll have to go through us." The prime flame's laughter was like falling suns. "Through you? You are balance. To destroy harmony, I need only destroy hope." And with that, the sky itself ignited. Fire poured from the heavens like liquid chaos. The air screamed, mountains cracked, oceans boiled. But within that apocalyptic storm, two lights stood, unbroken. Whis whispered, awe filling his tone. "This will decide whether balance endures or burns away forever." Beerus clenched his fists, his golden eyes fixed on the inferno. "Then let's see if mortals can truly fight destiny." CAULIFLA's words cut through the roar of the flames, fierce and bright. "Ready?" Goku grinned, energy coiling around him like starlight. "Always." Their ki intertwined again, gold threading through silver, heart through heart. The very fabric of time rippled in response, the air splitting into radiant fractals. Together they leapt, two mortal flames rising against the prime flame's descent. Their clash was not light or sound, but meaning. And in that instant, every god across every universe turned to watch. When gods bear witness, even silence trembles. The prime flame descended like the birth of a star, crimson light tearing open the heavens, its roar shaking galaxies into song. Every breath that exhaled warped gravity itself. Every movement left trails of fire that devoured the horizon. But in the middle of that cataclysm stood two mortals, two lights, two heartbeats in unison. CAULIFLA and Goku rose to meet the inferno, not with fear, but with purpose. Their auras intertwined, creating a vortex of radiance that shimmered between gold and silver. The land beneath them cracked but did not die. The energy they carried no longer destroyed. It balanced. Every tremor of their ki restored what the flames had burned. The prime flame's voice roared through eternity. "You cannot resist me. I am the first breath of destruction, the hunger that carved the stars from chaos." CAULIFLA shot forward first, her fists a storm of molten gold. Each punch struck like the rhythm of a heartbeat, fast, raw, defiant. The prime flame countered, waves of fire spiraling outward, but her energy bent the blaze back upon itself, reshaping its fury into light. Goku followed close behind, silver aura expanded into an endless calm. He didn't block, he flowed. Every strike that touched him was diffused, redirected, made harmless. It was as if the universe itself fought beside him. Together, they carved through the firestorm. Far above, Whis and Beerus watched from the boundary of reality. The angel's eyes glowed with quiet awe, the god of destructions with reluctant fear. "They're doing it," Beerus muttered. "They're matching the prime flame." Whis nodded, his tone revered. "Not matching, my lord, but balancing. They've become the answer to what you and I represent, creation and destruction made whole in mortal hearts." Beerus's gaze darkened. "Then what happens if they win?" Whis hesitated. "Then the order of gods will have to change, perhaps forever." Below, Goku and CAULIFLA pressed harder. The prime flame's body began to fracture, cracks of white light bleeding through its burning skin. But even as they fought, the being only grew brighter, its voice now layered with sorrow. "You don't understand. I am not your enemy. I am your beginning. Without destruction, there is no rebirth." Goku paused mid-attack, his breathing steady. "Then maybe it's time destruction learns how to be reborn without ending everything first." CAULIFLA smirked, golden sparks dancing across her arms. "We're Saiyans. Dying just to get stronger is kind of our thing, but we don't drag the universe down with us." The prime flame hesitated, and in that hesitation, they struck.
Their combined energy erupted, not as violence, but harmony. The explosion that followed was silent, yet it lit the cosmos brighter than 1,000 suns. The prime flame reeled, fragments of its body scattering into the void like shattered dawn. But instead of rage, laughter echoed from within the fire. So this is balance, not resistance, not dominance, but unity. Its form shifted, fading from red to gold, then to white. For the first time, the flames no longer burned, they warmed. "Then take what remains of me," it said softly. "Carry the memory of destruction as compassion, not wrath. Burn not to consume, but to illuminate." And with that, the prime flame dissolved, scattering into starlight that drifted gently across the heavens. Each spark settled into a distant world, rekindling fading suns, reigniting dying stars. Goku and CAULIFLA floated in the aftermath, surrounded by quiet brilliance, their ki dimmed to a soft glow, exhaustion mixing with awe. "We did it," CAULIFLA whispered. Goku nodded slowly. "No, we became it." From the edge of space, Whis appeared beside them, his usual playfulness replaced by solemn grace. "You have done what even gods could not. You turned destruction into creation, not by power, but by understanding." CAULIFLA exhaled, half grinning. "Guess we're not bad for mortals, huh?" Whis smiled. "You are not merely mortals anymore. You are what the universe becomes when it remembers itself." Beerus appeared behind him, arms folded, voice softer than usual. "Cha, just don't start thinking you're my replacement." Goku laughed weakly. "Wouldn't dream of it, Lord Beerus." CAULIFLA smirked. "Yeah, you'd be out of a job." Whis chuckled lightly, but his eyes shimmered with depth. "The echo is gone. The prime flame has returned to the cycle. Balance breathes once more. Yet even harmony carries a cost." Goku's brow furrowed. "A cost?" Whis gestured to the fading horizon. "The energy you've unleashed binds you to creation itself. The twin instinct isn't just a form, it's a covenant. Wherever imbalance rises, you will feel it, and you will be called." CAULIFLA looked at her brother. "So, we're guardians now?" Goku smiled faintly. "Guess so." As they descended toward Earth,
The world seemed to exhale in relief. The oceans gleamed, forests whispered, and the stars above flickered brighter. Chi-Chi's voice called from afar, "Dinner's getting cold." Goku scratched his head, laughing. "Well, some things never change." CAULIFLA nudged him. "You go eat. I'll watch the sunset." He nodded, then turned and jogged toward home. She stayed on the cliffside, golden aura fading into the amber light. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was chasing her brother. She was walking beside him, and the universe with her.
The last remnants of the prime flame shimmered across the sky, painting the clouds in radiant red and silver. CAULIFLA whispered softly, "Maybe that's what it means to be Saiyan, not to burn forever, but to keep the light alive." The stars pulsed once, as if in answer. Night fell softly over the mountains, the sky still glowing faintly from the afterimage of what had been, not a war, not a victory, but a transformation. The world seemed quieter now, not empty, but listening. CAULIFLA sat at the edge of the plateau, her knees drawn close, watching the faint shimmer of cosmic dust fade into the horizon. Each speck that vanished felt like a goodbye, the prime flame's last whisper echoing through the stars. Behind her, footsteps crunched lightly over the grass. "You always liked the quiet after a fight," Goku said, settling beside her. She smiled faintly. "It's not quiet," she said. "You just have to listen differently." He chuckled, leaning back on his hands, staring at the same sky. "Yeah, guess you're right. I can still feel it too, that heartbeat, like the whole universe is breathing." "It is," she whispered, "and we're part of it now." The wind shifted, carrying the scent of earth, the faint hum of ki flowing through every living thing. Goku closed his eyes, feeling the same warmth he used to feel when he first learned to sense life, only now it was deeper, infinite. "Do you ever think about what comes next?" he asked. CAULIFLA turned toward him, eyes gleaming gold in the moonlight. "No," she said, simply, "because for once, I'm not chasing it." He laughed softly. "You've changed. So have you." They sat in silence again, two warriors who had finally learned not to fight the universe, but to be its rhythm. Far beyond the stars, the Grand Priest stood at the center of the multiverse, surrounded by radiant spheres representing each universe. Their light had grown steadier, calmer, more synchronized. Vadas appeared beside him, her expression thoughtful. "It's spreading," she said. "Their resonance is reaching even the lower realms. Entire civilizations are feeling peace for the first time in generations." The Grand Priest nodded slowly. "The twin instinct has become the heartbeat of existence. The gods must now evolve, or fade." Vadas looked down at the mortal worlds below. "Mortals teaching gods," she mused. "How poetic." The Grand Priest's smile was faint, but real. Perhaps creation has always been waiting for mortals to remind it how to dream.
Back on Earth, the days passed like flowing water. Life continued, simple, beautiful, unremarkable to those who didn't feel the stars humming overhead. Chi-Chi scolded Goku for tracking mud into the house. Goten laughed at their bickering. Vegeta, from far away, felt a strange calm he couldn't explain. Even Beerus, sitting atop his temple, slept more deeply than he had in millennia. Balance had not erased struggle, it had simply taught the universe to breathe with it. CAULIFLA trained in solitude sometimes, not for strength, but for rhythm. Her punches no longer tore mountains apart, they created ripples that danced across the grass like music. When she exhaled, flowers bloomed along the crater edge, their petals faintly shimmering gold. Whis often visited, smiling with quiet pride. "You've learned what many gods never will," he said one day, "to master not power, but peace." She smirked. "Don't tell my brother that. He'll start calling me Master CAULIFLA." Whis laughed lightly. "Perhaps he already does, in ways words cannot say." On one clear evening, as the last light of sunset bled across the horizon,
Goku and CAULIFLA stood together one final time on the mountain that had once been their training ground. The air was still. The stars were waking. "You think there'll ever be another threat like that?" CAULIFLA asked quietly. Goku looked up at the stars, that same spark of wonder still in his eyes. "There's always something new out there, but maybe it won't be a threat. Maybe it'll be another lesson." CAULIFLA nodded. "Then I guess we'll keep learning." He grinned. "Yeah, together." For a long moment, they stood in silence, twin silhouettes against the starlight, the calm and the storm, the silver and the gold, brother and sister not by blood alone, but by destiny woven into the fabric of existence itself. And somewhere beyond sight, the echo of balance, now at peace, drifted through the cosmos, whispering its final blessing. Every flame fades, but if it burns with purpose, its light becomes eternal. The night deepened. The wind carried laughter across the valley, the sound of mortals who had become myth, of gods learning to be humble, of stars remembering why they shine. As the camera of eternity pulled back past mountains, past worlds, past galaxies, two lights remained visible in the infinite darkness, orbiting each other like twin suns. Gold and silver, chaos and calm, destruction and creation, brother and sister, the final harmony of all things.